Right, if you pop through here, you can spread the food around. Just hide it high and low and put it under rocks or whatnot. And just watch that if they come back or they're up above you or whatnot. Hi guys, I'll tell you a little bit about the cats while we're in here feeding them. We've got two breeding Scottish wildcat in here, the smaller and lighter coloured of the two, so obviously the female, the larger, this is the female here, the larger one of them both, who's just coming through just now, is the male. We actually think that the female may have kittens in this enclosure just now. She's found herself a nice wee home in one of the nest boxes, so that's why we're not actually going through there too much. The wildcats will have anything between 1 and 4 youngsters per year. They're actually quite seasonal, so they generally do all the mating in January, February, and they'll have youngsters April, May time. It's a little bit early for them, but with the strange weather we've had this year, the animals are sort of reacting differently. The Scottish wildcat is a very important species to us and throughout Scotland. Just watch your hands. They're highly threatened in Scotland now. They're a protected species. There's thought to be only between 400 or 500 of them left in the wild, which for any species is an incredibly low number. They were once found right throughout the UK, from the south of England to the north of Scotland, but unfortunately persecution has always been high in this species, and they can actually hybridise with feral and domestic cats, and that's having a huge effect on their population. The one difference, you'll see a few differences between a Scottish wildcat and the likes of a feral domestic cat. This big black ring bushy tail is a key characteristic that separates Scottish wildcat from domestics. They have this tabby stripe coat pattern, and they have a black dorsal stripe that will end at the base of the tail, and they also have these black rings that will run around the feet. The males are quite substantial cats. He weighs about 8 kilos, so that's a good bit bigger than your average domestic cat, and they're quite ferocious when they want to be. They're an entirely solitary animal in the wild, and even the cats that we have in the park here, you may have seen them being quite hissy and spitty at us when we come by. That's just a perfectly normal behaviour for Scottish wildcats. There's always it's always been said that regardless of how long you look after wildcats, you can never tame them, and I would certainly believe that. But they're an incredibly important species for us in the park here, and that's why we're keeping our fingers crossed that this female does have youngsters, and that over the next few weeks that they'll start to emerge. But she will keep herself to herself. We can leave the male in with the female. She has youngsters, and don't worry about her being smaller. She is the more aggressive cat when the kittens start to make an appearance, and she can quite easily keep this larger male out to one side. But well, exactly, I was going to say that's not just specific to cats, it probably goes with any species. So, but like I say, they're a very important species, so we'll find out over the next few weeks if she has kittens and how many. But we keep a very low profile when that's the case, and it just allows the female to spend